Welcome to this overview of the new UK employment rights and regulations being introduced from 2024 through to 2027. In the next 15 minutes, we'll break down the key changes and, more importantly, what they mean for you as an employer or HR professional. This is a general guide, not legal advice, but it will give you a clear checklist to start getting your organisation ready. Over the next few years, UK employment law is going through one of its most significant periods of change for decades. A package of reforms is being rolled out in stages, building on changes that already took effect in 2024 and extending them through 2025, 2026 and beyond. These reforms touch almost every part of the employment relationship: day one rights, sick pay and family leave, flexible working, 0 hours contracts, industrial action, harassment, trade union rights, and the way employment tribunals operate. In this video, we'll follow that same structure. We'll start with new day one and family-related rights, move on to flexible working and 0 hours contracts, then look at industrial action, harassment and trade unions, before finishing with tribunals, penalties, and a practical action plan. One of the core themes of the reforms is strengthening day one rights for workers. Historically, some key protections and benefits only applied after a qualifying period, often after several months or even 2 years of service. That is changing. First, sick pay. Statutory sick pay, or SSP, is being expanded so that more workers qualify from day one of their employment, and the lower earnings limit is being removed. That means many low-paid and part-time staff who previously fell below the threshold will now be entitled to statutory sick pay. Second, family-related rights. The direction of travel is to make core family rights available earlier in employment and on more flexible terms. Paternity leave is being made easier to take in smaller blocks and closer to the time that families actually need it. Shared parental leave is being reviewed to simplify access and improve uptake, particularly for fathers and partners. Unpaid parental leave is moving towards a genuine day one right, allowing parents to take time off to care for their children without needing lengthy qualifying service. Third, carers and neonatal leave. A new entitlement to carers leave provides a block of unpaid time off for employees who need to care for dependents with long-term care needs. Neonatal leave and pay are being introduced so that parents of babies requiring neonatal care can take additional time off. For employers, the key takeaway is simple. Check every part of your sickness and family leave policies and ask yourself, does this assume a minimum service period or earnings threshold that may no longer apply? If the answer is yes, that policy probably needs updating. Let's turn to flexible working and 0 hours contracts. This is another area where the legal starting point is shifting in favor of workers. Flexible working has already changed. Employees now have a right to request flexible working from day one of their employment. The wider reform agenda goes further. The expectation is that flexible working will be treated as the default position wherever reasonably possible. In practice, that means managers will need to start from the assumption that a request can be accommodated unless there is a clear and justifiable business reason not to. At the same time, the law is tightening around insecure working patterns. 0 hours and very low hours contracts are coming under pressure. The reforms aim to ensure that workers with regular patterns of work are offered contracts that reflect their typical hours. Employers may also face requirements to provide compensation where shifts are cancelled at short notice or where workers are sent home after arriving for work. That includes both financial compensation and, in some cases, minimum notice periods for changes to rotas. For you as an employer, this is a good moment to audit your use of casual labor, 0 hours contracts, and frequent shift changes. Ask, how many people are regularly working similar hours but still technically on 0 hours? How often are we cancelling shifts at the last minute? The reforms also make significant changes in some sensitive and sometimes controversial areas: industrial action, fire and rehire, workplace harassment, and trade union rights. Starting with industrial action, the rules around ballots, mandates, and picketing are being adjusted. Crucially, workers taking part in lawful industrial action will gain clearer protection against detrimental treatment, not just against dismissal. That means employers must avoid penalizing staff through suspension, disciplinary action, or other sanctions simply because they exercised lawful strike rights. Next, fire and rehire. Under the new regime, dismissing employees with the primary aim of forcing them to accept contractual changes will, in many situations, either be automatically unfair or carry a significantly higher legal risk. Turning to harassment, there is a new focus on prevention rather than just reaction. Employers will be placed under a proactive duty to take reasonable steps to prevent sexual harassment in the workplace. That means policies, training, culture, and reporting mechanisms will all be relevant. There will be tighter limits on the use of confidentiality clauses in harassment cases. Finally, trade union rights. The reforms streamline union recognition processes and strengthen access rights, including access to communicate with workers and to organize on-site or through digital channels. For HR teams, this all adds up to 3 priorities: consult early and meaningfully on contractual change, treat industrial action with care and respect for the lawfulness of the action, and invest in a culture that actively prevents harassment rather than simply dealing with it after the fact. Reforms to rights are being matched by changes to enforcement. In other words, the consequences of getting things wrong are increasing. Time limits for bringing many employment tribunal claims are being extended. Protective awards for failures around collective consultation in redundancies are also rising. The maximum number of weeks or days' pay that a tribunal can award per affected employee is being increased, effectively doubling the financial exposure for employers. In addition, tribunals will gain or extend powers to uplift or reduce certain awards by a percentage where a party unreasonably fails to follow statutory codes of practice. With more generous time limits, higher awards, and a complex patchwork of new rights, most commentators expect the volume of claims to rise. Let's finish with a practical action plan you can use as a starting point in your organization. Step 1. Build your own timeline. Map the key implementation dates against your current policies. Step 2. Update documentation. Review your standard employment contracts, employee handbooks, flexible working policies, family-friendly policies, and sickness procedures. Remove outdated qualifying periods where necessary. Step 3. Review your culture and training. Update anti-harassment and bullying policies, including clear reporting routes. Schedule training for managers on preventing harassment, handling flexible working requests fairly, and understanding the new limits on fire and rehire practices. Step 4. Audit your practices around workforce change. Look closely at how you currently handle restructures, redundancies, and contract variations. Ensure your consultation processes are robust, your record keeping is thorough, and your approach to unions is constructive. Step 5. Prepare for more enforcement. Expect more queries, more challenges, and potentially more claims. Make sure HR, payroll, and line managers understand the new rights and know when to pause and seek advice before acting. Finally, remember that these reforms are designed to create more secure, predictable, and family-friendly work. If you align your policies and your culture with that direction of travel, you not only reduce legal risk, you also make your organization more attractive to the people you want to recruit and retain. Thank you for watching.